Welcome to our newest installment of A View from Legal Street. Help us help you get paid. It's our series of short videos on tips and tricks in the real world to help healthcare providers maximize their reimbursement from commercial insurance companies. As always, Zach Rothenberg, co-chair of the litigation practice group here at Nelson Hardiman. We are 20 lawyers and a boutique law firm focused exclusively on representing healthcare providers and life sciences entrepreneurs. Today, we'll be talking about data with my friend, Sari Kern. She is CEO of Alpha Data Strategies. Sari is what you'd call a double threat in that she's both a registered nurse and also holds an MBA degree. She is the perfect person to talk with about using data to drive healthcare businesses to maximize reimbursement towards greater profitability. Let's dive right in, okay?
Yeah, thanks so much for having me, Zach.
No, my pleasure. Look, I know you pride yourself on getting companies to stop with the guesswork and to use data to drive their decisions and their success. That sounds great, but it also sounds a little bit intimidating. Can we drill down and really start with the basics? What is data and where can we find it?
Yeah, data has become kind of our fancy, shiny word that's become synonymous with complex problems, convoluted numbers, machine learning, and artificial intelligence. But let's break it down. Data is simply information. It can be complicated or it can be very simple. When it comes to business, it is the information that is generated on a daily basis from the operations of that business. And it can look like financials, sales reports, patient census, patient satisfaction, and even information and opinions living in the brains of employees.
Great. Well, let's talk specifically about healthcare reimbursement. If you're a small to mid-sized healthcare provider, how do you cut through all the noise and figure out what's the most important data that you should be looking at in order to make sure that you're maximizing what you're being paid?
Yeah, the first step that any business really needs to do is to take a minute and understand the problem or the goal. My background is in healthcare, as you mentioned, and I can tell you that one of the biggest problems for the companies I've worked with has to do with getting paid by insurance companies and third-party payers, which sounds like it's very consistent with your clients. The data and the metrics following this problem are vast. You have amount of money received for services. You've got the cost of providing those services. You have percentages of those costs covered, and the list goes on and on. To make it more complicated, each insurance company has different reimbursement and payment policies, and that adds an additional layer of information.
Okay, so let's say you've managed to identify the kinds of data that would be important to your mission. What's the next step?
This part's tricky, but it's what we specialize in. You have to organize the data in a meaningful way. So usually this means that you're taking all of these numbers and metrics and you're organizing them into a graph or a chart that illustrates trends. It tells a story. You may want to look at the trends by type of patient. You may want to get a better understanding of what services are the most profitable for your business. And if there are certain categories or services that are giving you problems with the insurance companies or government payers, and you want to see if those profitable or problematic services are changing over time.
Great. Now, as a litigator, I know that I find data like this extremely helpful. For example, when I'm in a lawsuit against or just negotiating with an insurance company. For example, I can use historical payment trends to push back when my client's claims are being underpaid. I can say, hey, insurance company, you've paid 75% of billed charges for these kinds of services for the past 5 years, but now all of a sudden you're only paying 50% of billed charges. What's going on? How else, in your experience, can healthcare providers use this kind of data?
Yeah, totally. Well, the sky's the limit. Data allows you to be nimble. It allows you to react quickly and smartly when patterns emerge. If one aspect of your practice becomes less profitable, you can decide to focus on another aspect, or you can make adjustments to increase the profitability if that's available to you. If you realize that there's a particular insurer that's consistently raising issues with one CPT or revenue code, you can address it with the insurer. or maybe figure out some kind of a workaround internally through operational efficiencies, or perhaps changing your patient-facing pricing model a bit. But you can't do any of that without data.
Yeah, I like to think of data as being able to allow you to navigate rather than just fly blindly.
Exactly.
So look, as we wrap up here, what's the one thing that you'd like to leave our viewers with today?
We should really invest in discovering what the key performance indicators are. What are those things that are really going to make or break your business? Make sure that you're tracking this data that contributes to those metrics, trend data over time. And you want to review your progress at least once per month to make sure you're on the right track. If you can put them into dashboard form, even better. You'll see that all of a sudden, all of your important information is right at your fingertips. And it brings that story, that ongoing story of your business to life, and makes it much easier to notice trends and make those nimble decisions when you need to. And data-driven decision-making is not a one-time execution either, but an ongoing process that requires constant attention and reevaluation.
That's a lot to chew on. Thank you so much, Sari. This was great. I really appreciate your thoughts today. It was good talking to you.
Thanks for having me, Zach. I really appreciate it.
You bet.